I really want to look back at 2020? Do I? Really? Hi, everybody. Today I will be doing a video that gets requested every year, and that is to flip through my 2020 bullet journal. Now, I have also gotten the request to flip through all of the planners I have used this year because I went through a process in the summer, tried a whole bunch of different planners, and some of you have asked if I would be willing to do a flip through of those, and my answer to you is let me know how many of you in the comments want them. Just let me know in the comments because it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to go find them all. So I need to know that you guys are going to watch it. But for the meantime, I'm going to flip through my bullet journal because I think it's going to be a really interesting look at how I approached this year. So I remember when I got this. This is a A5 Leuchtturm 1917 in the hot pink or whatever. I don't remember what the color is, but like it's got like messed up mark, so high mark on the front here, like dirt or something. I don't know how. It's not like I've been taking it places, but they're from something. Nice and beat up looking. And I remember when I made my setup at the beginning of the year, how much I loved the look of my old-fashioned label maker on the front because it made it look like a Mean Girls burn book, even though that's so not the theme. Like I have a theme, but like it's not anything having to do with my planner. I remember going into this thinking I was going to like get really back to basics in terms of the bullet journal method, and that I was planning on basically just using this for task lists because my Erin Condren planner was going to be my regular weekly situation. And we all had so many hopes for 2020. The number of Art Deco looking 2020 Roaring 20s spread, and people were like, the Roaring 20s. And we got the Roaring 20s. We just got plague and leading into the fucking depression. Like we got that aspect of the 20s, not flapper dresses and cigarette holders and prohibition. You know? So opening it up here, the first thing you see is my key. I am not putting a key in my new bullet journal. That setup will be linked. I put it here because I wanted to really like keep an eye on it so that I could stick to the Ryder Carroll method. And honestly, I have like not in all of his ways, but at least in using some of the different notations, I've actually used a lot of them in the way I'm bullet journaling now, so I don't really need it anymore. One of the things I do with my bullet journal, you'll discover, is there are going to be random post-it notes and papers just shoved into it. I stick them there for safekeeping, and then I never remember they're there till I do a flip through. My index that I swore I was going to keep up with this year, and then March happened, and the shelter in place, and no longer, and I am just going to admit that indexes and I are not friends. I remember having Kat write something in here. I think it was in a live stream to test a pen, and Kat wrote, "Hello, my name is your mom." Your mom. My kids. These were my goals at the beginning of the year. I revisited them in a live stream mid-year and then have kind of gone through them, and so that's just a different time. My future log. Another thing I realized I never used, which will also not be in my 2021 bullet journal. And then this was when I got back to the standard calendar and task list Ryder Carroll method, and it worked really well for me for the first month. This is one of my challenges I set for myself, the meal shit, where I like pick a different category every month. And again, we did it through the first 2 months, and then COVID happened, and all of the things we decided to do sort of went out the fucking window. Same with my year in pixels with Curly Girl method. Funny thing, I don't do the curly girl method anymore, although I do use aspects of it when it comes to how I get the curls that I have when I do curly hair. I have just, through doing all the curly girl stuff, I've discovered the products that worked best for me, but I also realized sometimes I like to flat iron my hair and leave it flat, so I decided that I would just use the curly products that work well in my hair when I want to be curly and use the heat protectant products that work well in my hair when I want to be straight. Use a shampoo that is good for my hair, and then just go with it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I might change my mind. Who knows? This was the method of like to-do list I was doing. I would just use a little stamp and stamp the date and then make my list, and there you go. And this worked really well for me for a little while. And I would just make notes for different videos, podcasts, etc. The page where I was working on analytics and making lists of content ideas. My 20 for 2020. I'll come back to that one day. I did talk about it in a video where I kind of looked at it. Read 100 books. First of all, I do not recommend, I didn't even go back and update this, but I do not recommend writing out the books you own, assuming you're going to read them. That doesn't always happen, obviously. Secondly, I need to hang on to this. I'm going to come back to this for some ideas because I'm going to try 100 books again this year. If you want to hear more about my journey with 100 books, the 21 in 2021, I talk a little bit more about that. Your podcast knows. Yeah, right. Some notes from a book I read when I was still trying. more lists. Like you see up here, up front, everything's looking pretty good, right? And then I made like this page assuming I was going to do what I hoped to do, which was 2 more series of fuckery flowers, which are the paintings I do of flowers, like very realistic paintings of flowers that have a cuss word hidden or like a naughty word hidden somewhere in them. I sell prints in my Etsy shop. All of these have been at least started. Almost all of them have their watercolor layer down. One of them still just is a sketch, but most of them have the watercolor layer, and then a couple of them even have the workings of some colored pencil on top. When COVID-19 hit, that was one of the first things that got kind of pushed off of my plate because I was so exhausted. Because when we started sheltering in place, when COVID happened, I don't know if it was the stress of that or if it was just time for it to start, but my kidneys also started to fail and I had to do surgery, and it was a lot of shit, man. I want to get back on that, but obviously not much happened there. I did try different lettering for this month, but again, just back to the same things. More notes, more lists, same old. Like we're just trucking right along, right? We're trucking right along. Packing lists for Chicago. Back when I traveled, this was my last trip I took, was the Chicago Planner Conference at the end of February. Lousy Smarch weather. All of these things here. The Mount LaSalle event was a choir thing my kid was going to do. So many things I was going to do. I was going to be at my church. There were going to be choir concerts, and at the end of, I don't remember if it was March or at the end of April, we were supposed to go see the Squirrel Nut Zippers. We all have stuff like this that got canceled right around this area, right? The final tour payment right before tour got canceled. Obviously, I did not fill out my plant thing, and yes, I was a plant murderer. Although, to be fair, this thing, I didn't murder. I did a great job with this thing. Jesse murdered it. It was getting long, and he decided to pick the jar up and move it, and the tomatoes were leaning on the wall, and the thing snapped. So that was not my fault. Here is where I needed to get my fistulogram done, because they were trying to figure out what was wrong with it. I went in for that. That was the last medical thing I had done before the hospitals locked down, and then I think it was May or June when I went in to get surgery, because they realized at the fistulogram that my fistula was not working and I was going to need a new one. I think the last actual day of like the note taking, this kind of situation was March 10th or 11th, whatever this was. And that was right as we were locking down. I think we locked down on the 13th. I think that was the last, what day was that? Friday the 13th, that was the day my kids did not have school anymore and their dad dropped them off. And that was the start of the 4 months that we had straight with them, though we didn't know that at the time. So you see a few like pseudo notes in here, right? And these were for like later videos. This was probably when I was flipping back to see if they were empty pages. And so here's when I tried to do an Animal Crossing section in my notebook because I was playing the shit out of it. And I was like, well, if I'm not using this for planning, I can use it for Animal Crossing because that's the only thing I'm actually keeping up with right now. Turnip game, didn't really pay much, like started in, it looks like right after I started in April because I started right at the beginning of April on Rex Manning Day, which is why my island is named Rex Manning. Fish, I only need one more and then I will have been done with this. The stringfish. Little fucker is hard to find. The bergs, I have caught all of them. Go me. That was actually recently. I caught a dung beetle. Fursals. I have all of those too, thanks to my sister. She found the last couple for me. No, wait, it was somebody else. All the effort I put into this. Holy shit. Flowers. Oh my God. I didn't even try. Do I have any of these villagers still? Yes, I have Clay. Because now I have a all hamster island. I have all the hamsters, including Clay. There's 8 of them. So I also have Pietro, the clown, because I love him, and Phoebe, the phoenix, because she's a big sister, and there is no hamster big sister. And if you don't like Animal Crossing, you probably have no idea what I'm fucking talking about, though. But none of this shit got used. Holy crap. Like, the checklist got used for like 4 days, and that was it. Where are we at now? Island ideas, more flower. Oh, Cindy, you tried so hard to be productive at something. And then this was my live bullet. I think, yeah, was this for September? Yeah, it was not. I wrote August thinking it was August, but it was for September. My aesthetic bullet journal setup where I would be all hella fancy the way that like a lot of bullet journal people are and paint on watercolor paper and put it in. And Rachel Hall is plagiarizing Maya Angelou. I did my first Dutch door with an eggplant that puts shorts on and a mood tracker that looks like mushrooms. Jack shit for September. My different weekly spreads. Pumpkin spice is oh so nice. my habit tracker to live my aesthetic life with all of my aesthetic habits like veganism and hot yoga and 87-step skincare and all hail chia seeds. Yeah. Memories all alone in the moonlight. Shake it like a Polaroid picture. Fuck you, COVID-19. Oh, this was fun. There's a live stream with all of this if you really want to go back and watch it. Mindset training. Yeah, okay, so these are actual notes. This is when I started revisiting my bullet journal just to make notes and to make task lists. I was like, well, I have this notebook. I might as well be using it for something, right? So here are some notes for some different videos that I did, some podcast things I was writing down, and then started making my task lists. And as you can see, these are just notes and task lists, notes and task lists. And this went, I think, for a while. At this point, I was using the Budget Mom Planner, and I was using this to just make my daily lists. That could be a 2020 motto right there. Testing highlighters. This was when I was looking at the super tips and trying to find matches among like the mild liners for them. Notes. This is when I was writing the book too. Things were rough. This is a list of the names of the paints. I need to make sure to hang on to this page because these are the actual names of the paints in the Mungyo set that I really love to use for practice. Notes for videos, notes for videos, notes for what to do, notes for videos, notes for what to do. Some of these, like this gift guide, I actually filmed this and made these notes way later, but because I wanted to only use this notebook for 2020 and not start a new one, and I was running out of pages, which you'll see, I just went back and found empty spots on different pages to make notes. So some of you might be like, that's terrible, Cindy, but for me, I was using space. Testing colors. This was when I discovered that the markers from the power sheets, the ones that you buy from Cultivate What Matters, are basically super tips. Good times. Testing. Oh, so many highlighters. I've tested so many fucking highlighters this year. And like, notice my handwriting is some hot garbo here. Like hot garbo. It is steaming garbo. And I am fine with it. Because you just do the things that make you feel happy. I think this was when I was trying to understand the idea of a grid reference page. Because like for some reason, even hearing people explain it when they were setting their bullet journals up, seeing people do entire videos on how to make it work, I still couldn't wrap my mind around it. I think I figured it out now. It's in my 2021 journal, but I wanted to talk about that. Practice flowers, scribbly scribble. And this was the first week I decided to try the Alistair method. It was originally a future planning method, but Plant-Based Bride talked about it being like a weekly running task list method, and it is wonderful and helped me. So I did this one seeing how I would do with just a week of planning on one side for like events and all my tasks here. And I discovered that this was not enough space for my weekly planning on a busy week, which is why after I did some more notes for videos and more notes for videos, I did this spread live, and I did the little foldy situation where you can see the task list at all times, but you give yourself a big chunk of page for each day. So this was an interesting one to try. And this is kind of, it's not exactly what I've been doing now and at the end of this journal, but this is when I sort of started to make my way into this situation. November was when I decided that I wanted to try a month of just bullet journaling and do stuff like this every week. So I made a habit tracker that, be sure to use this spread, my guy. It took you fucking long enough to make. Yeah, my hand almost fell off. This spread was the reason I bought stamps, even though I hate stamping. Brain dump, election day. Steve Kornacki. And then I try being a little bit more arty with it, but still doing the little foldy. This is the week of our Zoom's giving. And at this point, I was starting to realize that doing the tiny little section for the to-do list was really fucking my tendonitis up, because writing this tiny to fit my tasks list in was not working for my hand. Did I change it this week? No, this wasn't the week I changed it, but I was starting to realize it, right? I was starting to realize that for all the doodles and the fun on these pages, this was starting to be torture for me. Is productivity dead? This was a great live stream. Also, this was about the time, not really, I kind of have been doing it from the summer. This was about the time I realized I really wanted to keep doing weekly plan with me's on Sundays in my bullet journal, if this is what I stuck with. I realized how fun they were. This was a great conversation we had about productivity and chronic illness and pain and things like that. And it was fun to just set it up. I think at that point I was like, I'm going to keep doing these. And then we're into December and I decided to get really kind of artistic with it and see what that felt like. So I did the little doodles, and then the black with the white on top happened. It's hard to see, but there's December written under there, but I hated how it looked. So this was sort of born out of me hating my original idea. Brain dump, tried doing this version of a habit tracker, a little bit better. And then some pages that I put in for brainstorming. And then you can see here, I think is when I did the combined weekend, which worked out okay, but I really wasn't sure I liked it. However, I was like, at this point, this habit tracker just had to go. I had to make it bigger because it was sucking my ass, especially doing all the doodles. So this week was the first time I tried cutting a page in half to give myself a full task list. And this week worked out really well. Now, I was feeling really awful towards the end of it, so I didn't really utilize the weekend pages very much, but I really liked having the bigger tracker and even having this. And I saved this piece of paper so that the next week I could try the tip in, and this one also worked really well for me. The biggest problem was the small Sunday, but honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, having a little bit less of a page for a task list, but having it be enough so that I had room, so much better. And the little fold out worked really well. And some notes, and then I had left some blank space because I'm still in the middle of filming stuff for my break. But then this was the week I tried using stickers. I used some Chrissy Ann design stickers from the 2020 Celebrations collection. And you can see that I'm actually on Monday. This is when I'm filming this because I'm trying to get all these filmed so I can go on the break after Wednesday. I only put 3 days worth of planning on here because I intend on Thursday, Christmas Eve, to take a break for the next week and a half. And I had the task list, so not a full page, but a little bit more room underneath the little flappy flap. And I love this. I haven't finished using it yet, so I don't know how great it's going to work. But having the little hidden task list is actually fucking adorable, especially because I took some time in the live stream to line the washi tape up just right. And that is the end of the planning in here. At the end here, we just have one more little empty spread and then some notes, and then all of my pen testing from earlier in the year when I thought I had all the pages in the world, and then some ideas for 2021. And that's it. That's my bullet journal. So as you can see here, there are multiple months I didn't do anything in here. And that's okay. By the time I realized I was going to start doing bullet journaling again in 2020, I just wanted to keep it all in one notebook because I didn't want to start a new notebook in December and then have any of 2020's planning carry over into 2021 because this year has sucked my ass. I accomplished my goal. I don't intend to do anything in here except make a few more notes for videos and finish this week and potentially write down any to-do lists that I might have because Jess and I will be doing some stuff around the house on our break. I have this empty spread, this empty page, and then this empty spread left. And those will likely just get used for any extra video notes I have to do or any little to-do lists that he and I are doing when we're doing stuff around the house or whatever the case may be, vacation stuff. But I'm not going to plan another week in this. The next week I'm going to plan is going to be in my January bullet journal setup, which will be going live sometime in the next week or so, because I don't remember what day this video is going up because everything is just a blur, which is also another motto for 2020. It's been a hard year for all of us for various reasons. There are reasons we all share. There are reasons that are different for each of us. You're not all in kidney failure, but there are things going on in your lives that maybe didn't go on in mine. But we've all been marinating in the shittiness of 2020 for so long. I would love to hear from you in the comments something that happened this year, no matter how small, that made you smile. And also let me know if you would like me to dig up all my old planners that I tried this year. It'll take a while. It wouldn't come up till January sometime because it'll take me some fucking time to go through the garage and figure out what the hell I did with all of them. I'd love it if you subscribe. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. And until next time, friends, peace out.